Hey guys, today we're going to do a tabletop review and comparison on the Ganzo 202B multi-tool. Now, recently I had a couple of Ganzo knives sent to me, and the quality on them has really impressed me for the price point. And I've seen other reviews on the Ganzo multi-tools, but the thing is they're always something that have been given to people for review, and I don't always trust that. So I needed to see for myself, are these things good, are they bad, and are they going to be that same, good quality that the Ganzo knives are. So I've taken a hard look. I've had this thing for a couple of weeks, put it through some pretty decent tests, and it's time to share my results. So we have here the Ganzo 202 up next to the Leatherman Sidekick. I chose the Sidekick because it's pretty similar in size and weight. There is about a 3-ounce difference between the two of them, but close enough. And plus price point, you're talking $30 versus $20. So I wanted something that was in that price range. Now, style wise, the Gerber suspension is much closer to the Ganzo, but the Sidekicks were more well known, and I think it would make a better comparison. But like I said, it is if you're looking stylistically, the suspension is very close to this. So let's zoom out a sec. Let me actually see what we're doing here. Get that camera strap out of the way. Alright, so the Ganzo does come with a nylon sheath, which is kind of dumb because it's actually a really good rigid sheath, but it has a terrible belt loop on the back. So maybe you can fix that. I don't really wear multi-tools on my belt anyway, so not a great loss. And it comes with some bits that you can put onto a bit driver. So we're going to start out and kind of go piece by piece and compare the two and let you know what I think. I've owned the Sidekick now for a couple of years, so it's a good comparison because I have carried it EDC pretty substantially. So let's start with the most basic function, which is the pliers, the wire cutter, and the jaws, so the whole front end. So what we have is your very typical standard kind of snub-nosed needle-nose pliers with your area there for grabbing bolts, and then your wire cutter. You can see we got a little wear and tear on there from cutting up some nails and all that. So, but it is, and it just seems to be finish rather than actual steel. So it did just seem to strip that finish off. So you can see these actually have very good, they close up very well, and the wire cutters overlap. They actually overlap each other by a little bit, which is a little bit of a different design than these Leathermen, which have a terrible lockup. As you can see here, you can actually see my ring through them. Only the very, very tip of the pliers touch, and you can see the wire cutters are effectively useless because they don't even touch each other. So you can't really use it to cut nails or anything like that. It's yeah, and then plus the you're also looking at a very oval shaped hole for the bolts versus this has almost kind of a triangular shape to it. But so overall, the plier head, the Ganzo wins. Not only does it lock up better on the end, you don't have all that dead air in between them, but you actually have a nail cutter that actually works because there is that little bit of an overlap there, kind of like so it works like a pair of scissors. No, it won't work on big heavy duty nails, but for the small like finishing nails, stuff like that, wire, it works very good. You can see all I've done to it is basically just take off a little finish where I tested it there. And the one complaint I do see is the exposed spring. Haven't had an issue with it. Hasn't bothered me the slightest, so we're going to leave it alone. So we're going to close up and get to probably the most useful tool, which are the blades. And one thing that sucks, I will say right off the bat, is that these Ganzos are really tough to open. The finger pulls on them are not the greatest, and they're kind of placed weird. You're not going to get any kind of quick deploy out of this. So what you have here is a 420 HC, which is pretty much softer than a pile of dog snot. Here you have 440C, and this one's a little bit of a sheep's foot. Actually came really sharp out of the box. Has stayed pretty sharp. It's actually decent 440. So I actually like the blade on the Ganzo better. It's smaller, thinner, but in the end, the edge holding ability goes to the Ganzo. That 440 performs better than the 420. In fact, this 420, just being in my pocket will get dull. Just from pocket lint, debris in my pocket will dull that up. A matter of a week or so, and this thing's, very dull. Whereas this thing, carrying it around, did some pocket carry, backpack, stuff like that. The blade stayed pretty sharp. It's got actually a really nice edge, and the grind on it is actually done very well for, $20. That edge bevel is actually really clean. So once again, we got a winner. Yeah, okay. This has got a liner lock. It's a very quick deploy, so it does win as far as that. Having that ability to deploy one-handed, and the liner lock, I do give the sidekick some points there. Next, we're going to pull out the saw. This was a tough one. Ooh, that's not the saw. Like I said, guys, he's finding these. Probably because it's black too. Finding the thumb holes is very difficult. Alright, so I tested the two of these pretty extensively because these are a very useful part of your multi-tool, especially out in the woods and wilderness and camping. What I found, a little sawdust down there, is this Ganzo is thicker and takes out a thicker notch and cuts smoother. It doesn't bind up as much. This guy is thinner, but it does tend to bind up a little bit. There's a couple times where, in my kind of testing, which was basically just a 2x4, that this thing tends to have a lot of drag on it, and that's probably due to the set of the teeth as opposed to anything else. So, but it is a little thinner. It makes a thinner cut, and it's faster. It actually cuts faster, but the Ganzo is smoother and didn't bind as much. So that's kind of a preference thing. For me, I like the smoother action of the Ganzo. Maybe a little biased because I kind of like this, but that's kind of what I felt from testing. Alright, so the rest of this stuff is pretty simple. You're talking about screwdrivers, bottle openers, all that jazz. So we're going to get rid of the sidekick at that point because, we don't really need to compare each and every little thing. So we're going to bring out the rest of the tools here, which I guess can be really, really difficult getting these things out. Should I do this on camera, huh? So you have this awl, which is incredibly huge and kind of useless, to be honest. It's kind of big, it's bulky, it's got this sharp end on it, but really not anything I would ever use. It's just too big and too much of a pain. Now, the next important thing, accessing the tools can be very interesting. It's not the best setup for any kind of quick deploy. You have your bit driver here, which will use any of these bits. I was worried they were going to be really soft and strip out very easy. Wasn't the case. They actually held up pretty good. I used them for quite a bit just to see. We're just going to throw one on real quick. Of course, my hands are a little greasy, so makes this. So you have the different bits. Little wobble to them, but that's to be expected, But overall, it works pretty good. You get a very good amount of clearance, so if you're trying to get in there nice and deep on something, it will work out for you. And I haven't stripped any out or anything like that. So we're going to pull that out of the way. So that concludes that side. Then over on the other side, we have the bottle opener, which is decent. Bottle or cap lifter and can opener all in one. This serrated blade is not the best. I actually think the serrated blade on the Leatherman is better. It's aggressive and all, but it just, as you can see, it's got finish on it, so it's like, you know, it'll cut paracord and stuff, just not very fast. Alright. Your little flathead, nothing special. And last but not least, your scissors, which are actually decent. You can hear them. Good friction to them. They cut. They're actually straight. A lot of these, like on multi-tools, aren't straight. They're actually straight. They cut good. They'll cut thin cardboard. They'll cut paper. Not bad. They're spring-loaded. They're actually sharp. Winner there, you know. I mean, granted, the Sidekick doesn't have them, but overall, I think for the $20, I think this is better than the Gerber suspension. I think it's better than the Sidekick, I think, quality-wise. But it's got drawbacks. Like I said, it's not perfect. No $20 multi-tool is ever going to be. I think the Leatherman wins on ergonomics. You have that pocket clip. It's lighter. You have, the quick-to-plane blade and saw. You got better thumb pulls on them. Everything kind of with the ergonomics and handling of the Sidekick is better. However, I think the quality of the tools is better on the Ganzo. You're talking it's bigger, it's heavier, and like I said, the blade steel, that 440C steel blade, is nice. That saw, I think, is a little bit smoother, which I like. So everything kind of seems to be just that little bit better with it. So for the $20 I paid for this, I think this is an absolute winner. And I'm glad to say for once, for a piece of gear that is often given away, this one actually does stand up to the quality that people do say about it. Which is nice, because sometimes I get things and I'm like, ooh, geez, kind of embarrassed that some of these channels peddle some of this junk. But in this case, these are actually pretty decent. And if, hopefully they have the same consistency of quality that the Ganzo knives have, because I've got, 4 or 5 of the Ganzo knives, and I'm very, very happy with them so far. And I fully intend to actually get more of these multi-tools, because I think they're a nice bargain. I mean, look at that. Very easy to clean. Very easy to take care of. Everything's Torx bits. This is a really nice little tool. Not perfect, but I think if you're looking for something a little heavier, something that is going to be a little better quality than your Sidekick, this is the way to go. So I hope you enjoyed. There it is, the Ganzo 202B, and I'll put some links in the description on how to get some of these.